Hello everyone. So today in this video we are going to learn about the relative layouts, right? So in my previous video we have discussed about the linear layout and we have seen one login page example, that is how you can create login activity using linear layout, right? And we have also seen the nested layout architecture, right? So how you can use multiple nested linear layouts, right? So what is the benefit of relative layout? That relative layout, you can replace the multiple linear layouts with the relative layouts, right? So let's just go for the practical demonstration and see how we can use the linear layout, right? So for that I'm just going to create one new project, okay, and new empty activity, and I'm just giving a name that relative layout, right? And I'm just going to finish that. Okay, so once the project is loaded and all the things will work fine, after that we start with the designing, right? So before going to that, I'm just going to discuss important properties which are related with the relative layouts, right? So here you can observe that the particular properties we are going to use: layout underscore align parent top, align parent bottom, right, left, right? Then we can also place the elements in the center horizontal and center vertical, and we can also put that in the above and below, right? So here in front of us we have this empty activity, right? So first of all I'm just going to change my layout with this constant layout to relative layout, right? And I'm just going to remove this text view also. Okay, so now let's just start creating some buttons, right? So it is easy for you to understand, that's why I'm creating the buttons, web content and web content, right? So here you can see that I'm also just going to provide some text, that is button 1, right? Okay, so let me go to the split view so you can understand easily. So now we have one button is created for us, right? Okay, now I want to align this button to my left and top side. So for that, the first property we are just going to use over here is layout underscore align parent left is equals to true. So you can see that will be over there. Right now you can't see any effect because it is already over there, right? And I want to make sure that this particular button is at the top. So align parent top is equals to true, right? So don't worry, you will not find any effects because it is already at the position. So now let's just create the another button, right? So web content and web content. So now you can see I'm just going to put the text over here, that is button 2, right? So now you can observe button 2 is on the top of button 1. So now I want to move that button to the right hand side, right? So I'm just going to put align parent right is equals to 2. Now you can observe that button 2 is at the same place at the right hand, and I want to make sure that it is aligned at the top. So align parent top is equals to 2, right? Now let's just create another button, wrap content and wrap content, right? And just put one text, that is button 3 over here, right? Now what I want, that I want to put this particular button at the bottom and left hand side, right? So align, you can just observe align parent bottom true. So that button is replaced over here, right? Also I want to make sure that is aligned parent left. Okay, now I'm just going to create another button, right? Wrap content, and I'm just going to put the text over here, that is button 4, and I want to make that align parent bottom, it's true, and I want to make it align parent right, true, right? So you can observe the things that that particular button will be at this position, right? Now what I want to do that, right? Okay, I want to make sure that one top, left, right and bottom, I want to make all that particular thing in a center, right? So what I'm going to do that, so first button wrap content, that text will be button 6, right? And I just want to make sure that it will be at the top, right? Now I'm going to make that align this particular button at the parent top true, and I want to make that button will be between these two, right? So center horizontal true, so that button is at the top and that, right? So similarly I want to create another button, right? And wrap content, I want to make it text bottom, right? And I want to set that align parent bottom true and center horizontal true, right? So that will be at the bottom side. Now I want the buttons in the middle. Okay, so what I can do that, I can just create another button, right? So wrap content, then you can observe the text property that is left over here, then I can just make align parent left true, right? And I'm just going to use center vertical true, right? So that will be at the middle. And the same way I'm just going to create button wrap content and text that will be right. Okay, align parent that is right true, and center vertical is equals to true, right? So you can observe the things that this kind of designs you can put in your project. So this is a very simple example that you can create this kind of particular buttons, right? So here what you can see, so these particular UI elements are relative at each other, right? So to create that effects, right, that is above and below, right, we are just going to create one login page, right? So in this login page, the same example we are going to create whatever I have created in my previous video, right? So I'm just going to delete all this video, all these buttons right now. I hope you got the idea how we can create, and let's just create a login page. So text view, so particular wrap content and wrap content. Over here you can see that align parent top is equals to true. I want to make it true over there, right? Text login activity, right? You can see over there login activity. I want to put it in a center, so center horizontal true. Okay, that's fine. Now I want to make some text size changes, so 24 sp, right? And I want a little bit margin Okay, so margin is equals to 10 dp. Okay, so that's fine. Now I'm just going to create another edit text to take the input from the user, that is again wrap content. Width is I'm going to so wrap content width I'm going to get is match parent, because I want to make sure that it covers the whole area, right? Okay, now here you can see we are going to discuss some new properties. Now I want this edit text below that particular text, right? So for that you have to assign one ID to this particular thing. So ID is equals to TB login, right? So I have assigned the ID. Now I want edit text below this particular text view. So I'm just going to use layout below ID, and what ID I'm just going to provide login. So now you can observe that particular edit text is below that particular thing, right? Again, margin I want 10 dp, right? Okay, and after that I'm just going to put the hint that enter username, right? I'm just going to add the enter username. Okay, and here another thing you can observe, we can set the input time, that is text. I want only text, right? That's fine. Now I'm going to create another edit text, right? Match parent. Sorry, I want to keep it as a wrap content, right? So again, here you can observe I want this edit text below this edit text. So again I need to define the ID of this. So I'm just going to define the ID edt user, right? And here I'm just going to use a below layout below, that is edt username. So now it is below that. I'm just going to use, as usual, margin is the 10 dp, right? So that looks similar over there. After that I'm just going to provide the hint, that is enter password, right? And after entering the password I'm just going to define input type. You can observe I'm just going to use a password, right? So number password, text password, whatever you can provide, right? So I want for text password. Okay, that's it. So this is the way you can observe we have username and password ready with us, right? Now we just require some buttons for login activity. So I'm just going to use wrap content and wrap content, right? After that I'm just going to define this particular button below this thing. So again I need to define the ID edit pass, right? So again I'm just going to define edt pass. So now the button is little bit away, right? And over here again I am using margin 10 dp, right? So it looks perfect. Okay, at the same time text I'm going to define, that is login. Okay, and after that I'm just going to close this. So login button is ready. Now another button, we are just going to create wrap content text. I'm just going to put that sign up, right? And I'm just going to put again the margin, that is 10 dp, right? And I want that particular thing is a right of this login button, right? So for that I'm just creating two right of ID I just need to provide. So for that I just going to create the ID, right? btn login. Okay, so here I'm just going to provide btn login, right? So that is the right of. Okay, and I'm just going to put below layout ID, that is the edit, so edt pass, So here you can see that we have this particular sign up button over here, right? So this way you can put this particular thing, right? So that's it guys. If you want, then you can put these all buttons in the center, right hand side, bottom, whatever we have discussed in earlier in this particular video, right? So that's it guys. This is the login page ready for us, and you can see here we are not going to draw any nested layouts, linear layouts, and one relative layout is enough for this. That's it guys for this video. We are going to discuss about the constraint layout in the next video, so stay tuned. Thanks.